Okay. Oh, Buddy's trying to get in through the gate, Ross, this front gate. He's pawing at it. Oh, okay. So. Tuning into the inner body. I'm making an assumption you've already tuned into the outer body. So going inside and kind of getting a sense of tension from the inside. Noting especially around the solar plexus and the mid to lower belly. That's where we tend to hold tension from the inside. So let's take 3 nice full deep inhales through the nostrils as exhale out through the mouth. With the intention of letting go of that inner tension with the exhale. Let's bring the hands together at the heart and press the palms into one another. And try to lift up through the front of your spine. Soften and relax your shoulders. Reach your elbows away from the midline. Elongate through the spine. And then drop your chin towards your chest. And salute the teacher within. And then release the hands to your thighs and let's separate the legs and circle the hips. And reverse direction. And one last circle, come back and bring the legs back together. And let's take the arms by the side and let's bring the arms forward and up by the ears and then back down. Do that several times, reaching up and back down. And inhale as you go up. Exhale and release. Do it with some control. So we're not just swinging the arms, we're intentionally raising them up. Feeling the stretch. We'll come down, and then this next time we'll go up and hold it up. Grab hold of your right wrist with your left hand and just pull up a little more on that right arm. And then pull it over to the left a little bit. Keep your sit bones grounded. And breathe. Keep your ribs, the front of the ribs, flush with the front of your torso. The back of the neck long and relaxed. And just keep pulling and letting yourself kind of be drawn closer and closer to the ground on the left. And then inhale and come up. Re-stretch your arms and then bring them down. Take a nice full deep breath. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale the arms up. Clasp that left wrist. Slowly start to side bend to the right. And inhale, bring yourself back up. Exhale, arms down. Nice full inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Let's take some cat-cow. So let's inhale and round the back exhale. See if you can really move from your pelvis. Rocking back on the pelvis and then forward onto the front part of the pelvis. So you really want to try to squeeze out as much range of motion as you possibly can in those vertebrae. And then come back to mountain pose. And let's twist to the right. And try to stay lifted through your spine. And let's do little pulses on the exhale. So just take a short inhale and then kind of pulse it out or exhale quickly as you turn to the right. Then hold it there, inhale, pulse to the right. Inhale, pulse. And then hold it. Turn your head back to the left. Check and make sure the frontal ribs are back, flush with the rest of the torso and not jutting forward, creating tension in your mid-back. And then exhale and release. And then we'll turn in the other direction to the left, sit up tall. And please note that I am sitting almost at the very front edge of my chair. If you sit too far back, you're not gonna be able to turn as much. So if you sit all the way forward, where you're just kind of like on the lip of the front edge, then you'll have more room to use your arms as leverage and to twist a little further. So inhale, exhale a little pulse through the mouth. Turn to the left. Inhale, pulse out, turn. Do that several times. And then hold it there. Turn your head back to the right, but keep the trunk turning to the left. Pull your ribs back. Keep that tailbone long. Don't push from your low back. Try to maintain length with your spine. And then release. Nice, full inhale and exhale through the mouth. Let it all go. Do that again. Inhale. Exhale through the mouth and let it all go. And then the next time, slide back in your chair, separate your legs, take a big inhale. This time, exhale through the mouth and fold forward. Push down with your hands to inhale, come up. Arching the back, real nice big. Inhale through the nose and out through the mouth, folding forward. Really open your mouth. Inhale, coming up, pushing with your arms. Stay over. Release your arms down. You can put your hands on the tops of your feet or the ground, wherever it's comfortable. Just let the back of the neck hang. Press your buttocks flush down. Lift your navel. And then walk over towards your right leg. And reach the left arm way out in front of that right foot. And if it's too far down there, always just have your block or something there that you can use. So the arm's not just hanging in the air. When you do that, the muscles tend to pull back into themselves and you don't get as much length as is available. And then walk around to the middle. Exhale out through the mouth. And then start to turn to the left. Reach that right arm. Again, out through the mouth. Inhale, really reaching. And exhale. Out through the mouth. One more like that. And then going back to the center. Take your hands up to your thighs, push down and bring yourself back up slowly. Let's do some head and neck rolls. Big circles. And as you're doing this, try to keep the neck long. Don't pull the head back into the back like a turtle, but rather reaching up through the neck without lifting the shoulders up. Going the other way. And then coming back. Let's just open the palms nice and wide and close them, go back and forth. And then make a fist, circle your wrists. Go the other way. And then release. Okay, so we're gonna stand up. And so if your bolster is too big to fit into the seat of your chair, then take a blanket and take it from, this fold where you open it just one time, like right out of, we were at the studio, right out of the baskets, and you're gonna roll it from the short end. Okay, like so. And you want to make sure that this edge that is the one that, is the finishing edge, you want that on the bottom. So you're just going to put that in your chair seat. But you want it pretty tight and push it up towards these the back of the chair. Okay, so do that. And then we're going to take our bolster and you're going to put your bolster on the ground. Just put it on the ground, crossing your mat. So the first thing we're going to do is just step in front of your bolster. And I'm going to move my chair up a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So all we're going to do here is I'm going to turn my hands this way and I'm going to put my fingers on the chair seat, but my heels of my hand up on the blanket. Okay. From there, I'm going to walk back. Okay. So big stretch on the underarms. Okay. So Mary Caroline. Okay. I didn't know if you were not getting it or you. So make sure your fingers are turned back to face your legs. And your elbows are pointing straight up to the ceiling. And you just walk back as far as you can till you feel that good stretch on the underside of your arms. So obviously, the more you push your hips back, the more stretch you're going to have. So you're in charge. I'm going to tell you something though. This is one of those things that, it doesn't feel all that great when you're doing it because it can be pretty intense, but oh my gosh, does it feel good when you're done. We're going to do several of these. So relax your shoulder blades down your back. Try not to over tense through your buttocks or your legs. Just simply finding an intensity in the opening that is tolerable and that you can hold, keeping the elbows completely straight. And, you know, the higher up you have your elbows, the less stretch, elbows, wrists, the less, you know, if you could take your whole hand onto the blanket and walk in pretty close, and you're not gonna, well, you may feel a lot of stretch, but that is gonna be less of a stretch. So the more you have your hands on an angle, and the less stretch. If you get your hands way down into the chair seat and walk back, the more stretch you're gonna have. And make sure you're separating your arms far enough away from one another that it also creates a deeper stretch, more opening. Relax through your neck and your shoulders. Push your hips back. Feel that stretch on the inner arm. And so we've been there for a while, so come on out and just turn your wrists. Open and close your hands. Now interlace your fingers and floss. Oh, doesn't that feel good on those wrists? Wow. So just know, if you haven't already figured this out, we all have extremely tight wrists, really tight wrists, really tight fingers. You know, I was working with my 94-year-old guy yesterday, and bless his heart, I had him do this, and he's losing so much of his mobility in his joints. And he's like all of us, he gets more and more scared of that pain or the intensity. So when he was like this, I just grabbed right here. I was standing in front of him, I grabbed right there. And I just started gently pulling. And oh my gosh, it was like crack, 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 crack. And he was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's like he wasn't really feeling anything. It was just, there was so much tightness in his knuckles and in his hands that they were just like a symphony, popping and popping. But once, you know, and it was scary to him. He just had to trust me that it was okay. But after it was through, it was like, oh my gosh, I can move my fingers again. Yes, yes, we hold so much tension in our knuckles. Okay. So let's take, well, I'll take my chair back. This is probably right where it needs to be. Now, go ahead and just put your hands on the sides of your chair. And you're gonna slide, you want your bolster back a ways. And then you're gonna put your heels up on your bolster, okay? And let your weight go down into your heels. Make sure you've got a good distance. Can you see how much of a, especially if you haven't even pushed back yet, see how much of a angle that I have at my hips? My legs are not directly under my hips at this point. I want them to be a good angle, a wide angle, because when I push back, then I come into hips over heels. Okay, but if you start there with your chair too close, then you don't really have any place to go. And you don't really feel that big opening through your shoulders. Mostly through the shoulders and the back. And, you know, through the legs to a certain degree. So, see if you press your thighs back, press your shins back. And then push your heels out and try to widen your sit bones. Lift your navel. Lift your armpits and roll your arm bones out. And then lengthen the neck. Pull the crown of the head towards the front edge of your chair as you pull your tailbone to the wall behind you. Do that without dropping your ribs or your belly. And then walk in. Come up into standing. Okay. Go back now to the hands in an inverted position, taking whatever angle that you need to take. Tighter your bolster is, kind of well, I was gonna say the easier it is, but this blanket doesn't really want to give much, just keeps sliding. So if yours is sliding like mine was sliding, it kind of actually needs to be a little looser so that you can actually push into it and it won't just move. Then from there, take your legs back, put your heels up onto your bolster, and then press back. Go back as far as you can without feeling like you're gonna break your wrists or your fingers or anything else. It's a pretty strong stretch. And then walk in and come out. Whew. And then just again, circle your wrists. Interlace your fingers and again, press the palms away. Take the arms up. And then come about halfway down, change the interlace, press the palms away and go back up. And then come back down. Okay, so just move, if you've got, move your blanket off of your chair, but leave your bolster where it is. So you may have to change your distance. I'm going to kind of stay right where I am. And if you have on long sleeves, I don't know if I'm the only one, but you kind of want to be on your splash, okay? So you don't slide around. So you're going to put your forearms on the chair seat. And then you're going to put your heels up on that bolster. And then bring yourself to a plank. So you got to have a good distance so you can get your bum down. Put your feet up on the bolster. Slide that bolster back. I think, Mary Caroline, you'd do better if you were going with the length of your mat instead of across your mat. Same thing for you, Dolores. You kind of need to be going the length of your mat, not across your mat. And you want to make sure all 4 of your chair legs are on your mat so that your chair doesn't slide. Either that or the chair needs to be up against a wall so it doesn't slide. And then come onto your forearms. And then back with your legs. Put your feet up onto the bolster. Now there's a reason, this actually is really supportive. Now, I can tell most of you are not used to supporting yourself with your legs. You're used to using your back. So when you go to put your feet up on that bolster, it doesn't feel like it's going to support you because you're not engaging your legs. So go ahead and come out for a moment. So I'm going to show you something that may feel like it's completely unrelated to this, but it's not. But I'm showing it to you because, why am I showing it to you? I want you to kind of see, if I can get it lined up here. I'm doing a much more difficult pose that requires legs action to hold instead of back. Okay, so this is half handstand. Okay, now that may seem totally unrelated to forearm plank, but actually it's the very same actions in your legs that you need to be using. So to do a half handstand, I've got to be able to take my legs up the wall until they're about level with my hips. Now, I can tell you most people will do this. Okay, did you see that? Because they don't know how to use their legs. So this is how you start to learn to feel your legs and what action you're, and it's not like I'm trying to get you to that, what I was just doing. That's not the point. I was just trying to give you an idea of how much you have to use your legs. So watch. So when I come down here into forearm, now we do forearm plank, you know, not every time. And I put my feet up here. I'm actively working my legs to make them hold me up. So it's not this. This is what you're doing. Everybody, you're here, or you're even here, your bolster's so close that you don't have any place to drop your hips. So like if I have my bolster real close and I'm here, I can't go anywhere. You know, I've got to get it back there so that I can drop my hips down. But this bolster is actually really helping me. Okay, because I have something to put my feet in. I'm not just using my toes, my whole foot is connected to the bolster. So try again. Make sure you've got the right setup so that your chair won't slide and your bolster won't slide, which means they're either against a wall or they're on your mat.
So Sherry, my bolster, you know how fat it is. It's so fat that I can't get my heels up to where they're on top of it. So I don't have anything to push on.
They don't need to be on top. They just need to be connected.
But can I
So
use
mine aren't on top either.
Mhm.
Mine are connected. I can feel my bolster on my
Okay.
hips.
Because I was thinking I could use the rolled blanket, but you think just
You
go
can
with
try that.
okay.
It's got to be big enough that it, can actually support you, but you can try that. So Dolores, can you feel how high up in the air your butt is? Can you move your chair forward enough? You may have to change your mat position so that you're still on your mat. So you're still way too close, bolster to, there you go. But see, you're still too close because you're rounding your back, but that was much better, much better. You just need to go, a little further. Okay, so come onto your forearms, Mary Caroline. then try. Get those heels up into that bolster. They don't have to be on the bolster, but you need to be able to push into the bolster. That's good. Ross, you're just a little too close. Keep going. There you go. Now you're getting there. Just tiny bit, push that bolster back just a tiny bit more. And then lower your butt and pull your chest forward. Don't bend your knees, just lower your bottom. That's it. Good. Very nice. Good, Dolores. Perfect. That's beautiful. Marita, it looks like you've got your butt up in the air, but I wouldn't swear to it because I can only see your butt. And then Cookie, I can't see you at all, so I'll just have to trust you. Okay, so come on out. Okay, so hopefully you at least got a better feel for where you're going. Could you feel how challenging that is to the front of your body? How much you have to use your core muscles in your legs to maintain the position? That's the main thing that I want you to take away from that. Okay, did you get that? Up, down. Okay, good. Okay, so let's come back to seated. And just take your bolster now, put it in front of you, and get your second chair. So let's come into, and again, you can use your blocks if you need more height for your bolster. And if you're not sure if you should have more height or not, it's really about how it feels in your hips and in your knees. So I would go as high as you're able to without any pain in your hips or your knees. So you could start off at the highest level and then lower it as you need to until you find a place where it's comfortable. Like Mary Caroline, I would try higher than that. Now, if you've already tried it, you know it doesn't work, then that's fine. But for what I know about your hips, I think you can take more height and that would be good for you. Not so much necessarily for you, Cookie, but you can figure that one out if I'm wrong on that. So you'd want to make sure that your knees and your thighs can drop and relax. And actually, we're going to take Baddha Konasana, not Sukhasana. So take the soles of the feet together. And you may have to move your setup closer to you. You don't want your feet, unless you're Cookie again, you don't want your feet way out in front of you. Okay, so you want to bring your props up as close to your chair as you can. And then you want to be able to drop your thighs. Okay. And then have your second chair in front of you, seat of the chair facing you. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do in this setup is to take the arms forward and up. Okay. Now lower them down. So this time when you take your arms up, I want you to just notice if your thighs try to come up with your arms. If you feel that tendency, I want you to try to resist that. Keep your thighs down as you take your arms up. And then just reach. Now, You can either, again, this is very dependent on individual bodies. So if you can reach forward, find the back of your chair without rounding your back, you can come forward, okay? But if this causes you to roll back on your bottom and round your back, stay up. Okay, it's really important you don't round your back here. Okay, so some of us can go forward fairly easily. Now, and I will tell you, for me, I can't do this unless I'm in a really supported position like this. If I were to be sitting on the floor in Baddha Konasana, I could not go forward. So I'm just telling you that because even here, it may not be possible for you to go forward without rounding your low back. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just be respectful of it. And then if it makes sense, in other words, feels like you're still able to keep the length of your spine, you can bring your arms down into the seat of your chair and even rest your forehead in the seat of the chair. Again, so long as that's not putting pressure in your back. And then just reach your knees away from one another. And then walk the hands back and go ahead and begin to come up. Okay, bring the legs down. So we're going to do Janu Shirshasana. So you can do it, you can keep your setup like you just had it. I'm gonna do it without the bolster. But if you are doing it with the bolster, and you would do it with the bolster if your hips are tight or your hamstrings or hips are tight, okay? So to do it with the setup, I'm gonna leave my my right leg as it was in Baddha Konasana on the bolster, and then I'm gonna reach forward over this straight leg, this left leg, and even maybe reach, okay? I'm gonna do it without the bolster. That's not because it's a better way to do it. It's just, the way I'm gonna do it, which is to bring the chair in really close, come into Baddha Konasana way up here, leave my left leg. In fact, I'm gonna slide really close and then stretch the other leg out and then come forward. But that's not necessarily gonna make sense for everybody, okay? So you can start with the props. I would start with the props, and if that is super easy for you, then you could do it without the props. So you've got your bolster set up here and you're in Baddha Konasana. Leave your right foot right where it is and stretch your left leg up into the chair seat. And then lift up out of your low back, start to reach forward. Now you can put your hands anywhere, but the point here is, how is this for you? How is it in your hip? How is it in your knee? How is it in the straight leg? Are you keeping your back long and straight? How far over can you go? Okay, so if you could go, like lay your belly on your left thigh, then you could probably go down a level. But if you can't do that, then you are where you need to be. Just stay there. Okay. And you may want to just grab the chair by the sides and pull it towards you to really pull your chest forward and relax your shoulders, look down at your leg. This in and of itself is a big stretch on the left leg. Nice opening in the right hip. Keep rolling your right hip out. Pull the front of your trunk forward. Relax your arm bones down. And if you can't reach the back of your chair, just put your hands in your chair seat or on your leg. And then come back. Come back to Baddha Konasana. And leave your left leg like it is and stretch your right leg into the chair. And then again, grow tall. And then reach. Roll that left thigh out. Roll your right thigh in. And if you can reach the sides of your chair, do that. If you need to put your hands in your chair seat or on your leg, that's fine. But do what you can to pull your trunk forward. It almost feels like you're pulling your leg back into the socket while you're reaching your spine forward. And then just kind of going down. So the going down part just kind of happens on its own because you created enough space in your lumbar spine for everything to kind of release and fold forward. And slowly come back up. And then we're going to stretch both legs into the chair. You can just lean into the back of the chair for a moment and relax and breathe and just feel the sensations, the openings that you're creating. So it's really helpful for us to observe our minds as we're doing these poses so we can interrupt patterns that are not helping us to surrender more fully into the experience of that the pose is inviting us into. Now, if that makes sense, it's our minds and the way that we, like have these kind of beliefs and from our experiences and our history that sometimes get in our way of actually having a new experience of a pose. So we're working with the mind as much as we're working with the body. So go ahead now and sit as tall as you can with both legs forward in the chair. If having them up in the chair, and again, I'm going to turn to the side. And of course, I'm asking you to be able to assess what your body posture is. Sometimes that's hard to do. We think we're doing one thing, but if we look in the mirror or somebody else is observing us, we find we're not doing what we thought we were doing at all. So we started here, I'm kind of leaning into the back of my chair, which makes my back round, and my shoulders are behind my hips. And what I'm asking you to do now is to come forward so that your shoulders are over your hips. You're no longer up against the back of the chair. And for me, I'm just gonna push on the back of the chair and kind of lift up to release the backs of my legs towards my heels. Then I'm gonna lift up and I'm gonna reach. Reaching for the back of the chair. Could be this, these chair legs down here. It can be anywhere. It doesn't matter where you grab, but it should feel like it's where your body wants to go, where it feels kind of natural to you. And then I'm gonna use my arms to help me to get more space in between my vertebra, in my belly, so that I can pull my trunk up and over my legs. Okay, so I'm pulling back on the back of the chair. Now I could be pulling down here on the lower legs. Doesn't matter. Just kind of depends on where your body seems to kind of intuitively want to reach for. Usually that's much better than any teacher or another person telling us what to do. So just going forward, finding a place. You may not go all the way over. You may be up here. That's fine. You might even be up here. That's fine. All feels good. All is very, very helpful and productive in the body. So right now I've got my fingers underneath the front of my second chair and I'm pulling the chair seat towards me to pull my spine forward, keeping my shoulder blades down. That feels really nice. Really helps the natural curve of my back. Really helps me to lift up, get length. And I'm pressing down through my thighs, pressing down through my shins, pressing down through my heels. Everything's pressing down. From that pressing down, I get some lightness upwards through my spine. And then, you just hang out there for a little while until you feel like you want to go someplace else. Experiment with that. Now I'm pulling the chair seat towards me to keep that length and go forward. Pushing down through the thighs, pressing down through the shins, pushing down through the heels. And then release. So I'll tell you, like with that pose, that was many, many, many months of doing that over and over and over. And just every day kind of seeing a little bit more flexibility, a little bit closer to that full stretch. Once you get there and you hold it for a little bit, so long as you don't just stay away from it for the next 6 months, you generally can repeat that. It starts to feel, it becomes part of you instead of, something you're trying to get to. Okay. I hope some of this is helpful and that you're getting clearer about how to work with your body, how to work with where you are. Not so much about me, what I'm doing. So sitting up now into mountain pose. The eyes closed. Just kind of sense inside, kind of notice how you're doing. Take a few breaths, nice and full. And as you exhale, relaxing. And if there's something kind of rises to the surface that you feel like your body needs, feel free to do that. My body right now feels very balanced, but that doesn't mean yours does. So if you feel like you need a twist or a side bend or child's pose, feel free to take it. But for the whole class, let's bring our hands together at the heart and bow the head. And just thank yourself for taking this time. May we have faith to know the divine enriches us, invigorates us, present with us throughout our day. And thank you for allowing me to share this journey with you. Thank you for your time, your attention, your dedication, all the resources that you dedicate to this practice. It really does make a difference, not only for you, but for all of us in the class and all of those that we have in our lives that are touched by our connection with ourselves. So until next time, namaste. Okay, my friends, hope you feel more relaxed. I do. I'm going to glide out and watch TV. Okay. See you on Thursday, I hope. Bye-bye.